Namaste, and welcome to our continuing series on Savitri with our beloved Ranga. We are now in Canto 3 of Book 1, the Yoga of the King, the Yoga of the Soul's Release. And of course, this is about Ashwapati and his inner progress. A strength of the original permanence, entangled in the moment and its flow, he kept the vision of the vasts behind. A power was in him from the unknowable, an archivist of the symbols of the beyond, a treasurer of superhuman dreams. He bore the stamp of mighty memories and shed their grandiose ray on human life. His days were a long growth to the Supreme. A skyward being, nourishing its roots on sustenance from occult spiritual founts, climbed through white rays to meet an unseen sun. His soul lived as eternity's delegate. His mind was like a fire assailing heaven, his will a hunter in the trails of light. An ocean impulse lifted every breath. Each action left the footprints of a god. Each moment was a beat of puissant wings. The little plot of our mortality, touched by this tenant from the heights, became a playground of the living infinite. This bodily appearance is not all. The form deceives. The person is a mask. Hid deep in man, celestial powers can dwell. His fragile ship conveys through the sea of years an incognito of the imperishable. I'll stop for a moment there.
Okay. So, in Canto 2, Srenda has described Savitri, that she is a direct incarnation of the Divine Mother. She has a body-mind life which seems to be imperfect and very limited, but she is not of any earthly make. So she is heavenly, and she is here and she has a work to accomplish. And that work to accomplish is confront death and change the laws in the physical world. Now he is, in Canto 3, he comes to the birth of Savitri through Ashwapati. So, he begins with, a world's desire compelled her mortal birth. So, we discussed this last time, that when there is an aspiration from below, there is always a corresponding answer from above. So, that's exactly what he means by, a world's desire compelled her mortal birth. Then, he has described who this king is. He is a one in the front of immeasurable quest, protagonist of the mysterious play. He is the mysterious play of the physical world, and he is the chief character. Then he is also a thinker and toiler. He was a spirit. He was a colonist. He has described all this. Now, the word colonist is very interesting. In other words, he is not someone who belongs here. A colonist is one who comes from his native land and occupies another's territory. So, Ashwapati is a colonist. His native place is up there in the heavens, and he has come down into the physical world. So that word colonist is very clear. And you will see afterward that he uses many, many other words, I'll point out, where he says that he is actually from there. He uses the word tenant, he uses the word delegate, he uses the word guest. He is a guest here. Okay, he is an inhabitant. He is a traveler, a passenger. All these words he goes on using, which means the same thing. He is just a passenger here. He is not a permanent member of the... He is not an ignorant man.
And yet he is able to bring down the radiant power of Savitri.
Yes, that's right. And it is his prayer to the Divine Mother, and the Divine Mother consents to take birth through him. So, that is how Savitri is born to him. I read that. I just pointed out because that colonist is a very important word.
Very important.
Okay, so a strength, he is describing the king. Okay. A strength of the original permanence. The original permanence is the higher hemisphere, where you have infinity, eternity, and immutability. There is always movement in the physical world, but as soon as you go to the spiritual planes of consciousness, there is immutability. And immutability is a permanence, the original permanence.
And he capitalizes permanent.
Pardon?
He capitalizes
Yes,
permanent.
that's right. That's right. Okay? So he is the strength of that permanence. But that strength is entangled in the moment and its flow. And the moment and the flow, very clearly a description of the physical earth. Moment is time. There is no time there, but there is time here. So he is a colonist from there, but he has got entangled in the laws of the physical world. In other words, he has entered his body-mind life. Okay, so entangled in the moment and its flow, he kept the vision of the vast behind. So he is not bringing it forward. It is there inside him, but it is kept behind, hidden from other outward oriented eyes. They see only the body. Then he says, entangled in the moment and flow, he kept the vision of the vast behind, because he is from there. So he knows from where he has come, and he has kept that vision in the background, deep inside, not overt. A power was in him from the unknowable. Almost the same thing as the strength of the original permanence.
But very, very appropriate for Sri Aurobindo himself, the
That's
way
it.
they felt about
I
him.
should have said that.
Yes.
This whole passage about Ashwapati is a description of himself.
Yes.
We dare to say that because there are many, many things where you can see what he is talking about. It is Ashwapati's description of the yoga is definitely autobiographical.
Yes.
And Savitri's is absolutely autobiographical of the mother. Spiritually autobiographical, not physical world,
Yes.
not physical events,
Yes.
but spiritual autobiography.
Because Savitri is also entangled in the moment and
Yes,
its
exactly.
flow.
That's right. So, who is he? He has a strength. He is a strength of the original permanence, but entangled in the moment and the flow. He kept the vision of the vast behind. A power was in him from the unknowable. An archivist of the symbols of the beyond. This Narad was discussing this. Everything in the physical world is a symbol of what is there in the higher hemisphere. The higher hemisphere contains the archetypes, the perfect form of everything here, which is not obviously the archetype, but it's a very gross form of the archetype. That's why it's a symbol. The word symbol is very interesting. Everything is a symbol. That brings us to the interesting question of how Mother is giving names to flowers. Because each flower is a symbol of something in the higher hemisphere. So she contacts that and she knows what it is a symbol of. And that's how she gives the name. So this is an archivist of the symbols of the beyond, but he is also a treasurer of superhuman dreams. Now, a treasurer is one who is in charge of the bank and the money. So he possesses all these superhuman dreams. He bore the stamp of mighty memories and shed their grandiose ray on human life. So
Now the stamp here is the impress.
yes, he bore the stamp of mighty memories, the memory of his past lives and all that he has experienced in the past, recorded in his consciousness, and shed their grandiose ray on human life. His days were a long growth to the Supreme. His days, again, the day is in time, so therefore it is the worldly life here, is a long growth to the Supreme. A skyward being nourishing its roots. Now this is very interesting. A skyward being nourishing its roots. So this reminds you of the poem that he wrote about the tree. Okay, so it's interesting because that's what he's a little beyond. That poem of the tree is a very small 6-line poem. Okay, so I just read it out to you. It was very. He talked of the roots, huh? And climbed through white rays to meet the unseen sun. So, a tree beside the sandy river beach holds up its topmost boughs. Like fingers towards the skies they cannot reach. Earth-bound, heaven amorous, this is the soul of man, body and brain, hungry for earth, our heavenly flight detain. The body and brain, the physical body and brain, they are hungry for earth. There is a attachment to this. They delay our heavenly flight. So the moment you come down into your physical body, you get delayed, you get entangled. So all these words fit so
in
well.
the moment and its flow.
Yes.
Yes.
That's right.
I wanted to say something about the word here, grandiose.
Yeah.
Today, it's often used in a pejorative sense.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
he has grandiose ideas.
Yeah.
But it never was in Sri Aurobindo's time. It always meant great.
Yes. That's right. And shed their grandiose ray. And he's saying there. So what is there? The mighty memories. So all that he has experienced in the past, he is now, that knowledge he is spreading in the physical world. A skyward being nourishing its roots on sustenance from occult spiritual founts, climbed through white rays to meet an unseen sun. Okay.
I feel the word occult here is not the way we understand it.
No.
I feel it's just hidden.
Yeah, occult hidden. That's right. That's the meaning. Occult found. Occult is actually means hidden, secret.
Yes.
So here that is the meaning, not not like the occult sciences.
Right.
Yeah. His soul lived as eternity's delegate. So there you are. He is describing him as a colonist, he is describing him as a delegate. In other places, he describes him as a tenant. Now, a tenant is one who doesn't own the house. He just comes here for a certain time and goes back. So, Ashrapati is not a being of the physical earth. That's the implication. He is actually from there. Which reminds us of what Mother said about Sri Aurobindo. He is not this, he is not that, he is not just a mere yogi nor even an avatar. He is a direct action from the Supreme. She said that about him.
Yes.
He is a direct action from the Supreme. So that's it. He is a colonist, he is a tenant, he is a passenger. His home is there. His soul lived as eternity's delegate. His mind was like a fire assailing heaven. His will a hunter in the trails of light. Now, his mind was like a fire assailing heaven, because many spiritual people, many spiritual realized souls, don't necessarily have a strong mind. Very few you can think of. But Sri Aurobindo's intellect is unbelievable. The amount of knowledge he had and the capacity to retain that knowledge is absolutely fantastic. So this is what he's saying. There are two cases where Sri Aurobindo says, talks of the intellect also. He speaks of Shankara and he speaks of Plato.
Yes.
He speaks of them as the peak of human intellect. He is not quoting himself because he can't do that, but he is more than a peak. The tremendous intellectual capacity. So, his mind was like a fire assailing heaven, his will a hunter in the trails of light. An ocean impulse lifted every breath. An ocean impulse. The description is fine. It's not just an ordinary impulse from man. It's an ocean impulse, huge.
Yes.
Each action left the footprints of a god. Each moment was a beat of puissant wings. The little plot of our mortality, touched by this tenant from the heights, became a playground of the living infinite. Now this is very interesting, the image. The little plot of our mortality. So
Earth.
what's the body-mind life? The body-mind life is the plot, not the universe, because it's a plot. A plot is always a 60-40 well-defined small piece of land. So that's but of the mortality. So which is the plot of your mortality? Your body-mind life, your outer nature. So that's what he's saying. But touched by this tenant from the heights, became a playground of the living infinite. The divine is playing and pouring all his riches into him and enjoying what he's doing. He's playing in the body of Mother of Sri Aurobindo. Here is Asapati, but we can say that that's exactly what happened also with Sri Aurobindo. Remember that in 1926, 24th November, Sri Krishna himself descended into the body of Sri Aurobindo. So what is that? That he is coming down into the body and playing. That's a play of the divine. It's a playground of the living infinite. And the playground also has the implication of tremendous joy. When you play, you are absolutely joyful. And it's not ordinary, it's a playground of the infinite. Living infinite. His bodily appearance is not all. The form deceives. The person is a mask. That's why he has said earlier that he kept the vision of the vast behind. It's not in front. That's what it means. So the word behind is so important. Now he is saying exactly
mask.
Yes, it's a mask. Okay? So his bodily appearance is not all. The form deceives. The person is a mask. When he uses the word person, he always means person with a P cap, okay, is the soul. But a person with a lowercase is the body-mind life, the outer nature. So the person is a mask. Your body-mind life is a mask, hiding the divinity behind. Okay? Hid deep in man, celestial powers can dwell. His fragile ship conveys through the seas of years. Now, this again is a very interesting...
Beautiful image.
Yeah, an image where the seas of years, that means all the time, all the different lives that he has had. Okay? You see? That's a fragile ship. The fragile ship is the individual soul. And is traveling on the sea of time. Okay? Sea of years. So, sea of time. So he is taking many, many births. This fragile ship is taking many births and traveling. Okay, so an incognito of the imperishable. Now again, another image. Incognito is one who comes somewhere without revealing his own identity. Okay? True identity is concealed. That's incognito.
Concealed.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
That's right. It's assumed or false identity. Sometimes in India, the kings used to go out into the normal to find out what the people are thinking about him. So he would go incognito, not as a king. He wouldn't be in his royal robes. He would go as an ordinary man. So incognito, assumed false identity. Okay, so his body, mind, life is an incognito of the imperishable. A spirit that is a flame of God abides. A spirit that is a flame of God abides. Abides in his body.
Humanity.
Yeah. A fiery portion of the wonderful, artist of his own beauty and delight. Artist of his own beauty and delight. Immortal in our mortal poverty. So mortal poverty is a body, mind, life which is poor. But he is there inside the mask, he is immortal.
Yes. A fiery portion of the wonderful.
Yeah. A fiery portion of the wonderful, artist of his own beauty and delight, immortal in our mortal poverty, this sculptor of the forms of the infinite, this screened, unrecognized inhabitant. Again, he is repeating the same idea with different images. He is only an inhabitant. He is not the body, mind, life. He is the inhabitant of the body, mind, life. So note again the words colonist, delegate, tenant, traveler, passenger, inhabitant. So he does not belong here. He has come here as a guest. He is just inhabiting a body, but he is actually from there, up there. Initiate of his own veiled mysteries. In the physical world, he is an initiate. Initiate is one who has been introduced into a new activity. He is an initiate. Suppose a guru takes a disciple, he is initiated into the activity. So here he is initiated in the physical world. Initiate, but of what? Initiate.
His own veiled.
Yeah, of his own veiled mysteries.
Yes.
Hides in a small dumb seed his cosmic thought. Again, the small dumb seed is the body, mind, life. In the mute strength of the occult idea. Now, mute strength, the strength is there but suppressed, without expression. Determining predetermined shape and act. Passenger from life to life, from scale to scale. So, he is a passenger to life, each life is a, but scale to scale, vertical climbing from one world to another world. So he is taking birth many times, he is traveling in time, but is also going up the scale of consciousness. The vertical evolution.
And he tells us this in Book 2.
Pardon?
He tells us this in Book 2.
Yes.
This climb throughout all
That's
the
right.
planes.
Yeah. Okay. Passenger from life to life, from scale to scale, changing his image self from form to form. So the image self is here the representative body, mind, life, but he's changing it from form to form, the different lives. Each life is a different form.
And Mother tells us this also. She had come so many times previously.
Yes.
Since Earth began.
Yes.
But in different forms.
That's right. So that's what it means. from form to form. Changing his image self from form to form. It's a description of various lives. He regards the icon growing by his gaze, and in the worm foresees the coming God.
Oh, so beautiful.
Again, he has used another interesting word, the icon.
Icon.
The icon is just a symbol, a picture which is a symbol. So, in fact, those who use computers now, the icons are there representing a function. So his body-mind life is an icon, growing by his gaze. Even that is growing by his gaze. And in the worm foresees the coming God. In other words, he is one of the first to recognize the spiritual evolution. So he is able to see in the worm foresees the coming God. So the evolution he is able to, his gaze is able to find out that there is an evolution. That's what he's saying. At last the traveler in the paths of time arrives on the frontiers of eternity. So the traveler in the paths of time is the seemingly ordinary man, okay? But at last he comes in the transient symbol of humanity, draped. He is draped with a body-mind life, which is a transient symbol of humanity. He is draped in that, but he arrives on the frontiers of eternity, finally. So I think you read the next one. He feels his substance.
He feels his substance of undying self and loses his kinship to mortality. A beam of the eternal smites his heart. His thought stretches into infinitude. All in him turns to spirit vastnesses. His soul breaks out to join the oversoul. His life is oceaned by that superlife. He has drunk from the breasts of the mother of the worlds. A topless supernature fills his frame. She adopts his spirit's everlasting ground as the security of her changing world, and shapes the figure of her unborn mites. Immortally, she conceives herself in him. In the creature, the unveiled creatrix works. Her face is seen through his face, her eyes through his eyes. Her being is his through a vast identity. Then is revealed in man the overt divine.
So, beautiful passage, and now he is talking about the Divine Mother who is willing to come down, take birth through him. This is the description of that. Okay, so because his two words are there very clearly, the mother of the worlds, and he is also talking of the supernature. So supernature is the para prakriti, and she is the divine mother. So lower prakriti is there, which is mechanical universal nature, but para prakriti, supernature, is the divine mother.
So if we can go back to page 23 and just speak a little bit about in the transient symbol of humanity draped.
Yeah. The drape is a cloth, the vestment, the clothes that he is wearing. And the clothes that he is wearing is a body-mind life. That's a transient symbol of humanity. The body-mind life are only symbols of humanity, but transient.
Transient, yes.
That's what it means. Draped is he is dressed. The soul is dressed with the body-mind life. In fact, that's the image in the Gita also. Mm-hmm. That you wear these clothes and next life you throw these old clothes and take on new clothes. So here and somewhere else also he used the word vestment.
Yes.
the clothings. Okay.
He feels his substance of undying self and loses his kinship to mortality.
Yes. His kinship to mortality, his relationship to mortality is gone. Why? When he, the key line is, arrives on the frontiers of eternity. So when he arrives on the frontiers of eternity, everything changes. He loses his mortality. He is no more the outer man. He feels his substance of undying self and loses his kinship to mortality. His kinship to mortality, his relation to the physical world is gone. He now knows he is divine. Yeah? His thought stretches. These are the results of the experience that he had on the eternity. That key word, that key sentence, arrives on the frontiers. At last, the traveler in the paths of time arrives on the frontiers of eternity. So that, now what is the description after that happens? He feels his substance of undying self. So I have to constantly use the word substance. The substance is, we must remember that everything has a substance. Even as you keep traveling upwards, all the planes have substance. They may be subtle substance, but they are substance. The ultimate substance is Sat, truth, existence. Okay, so he feels his substance of undying self and loses his kinship to mortality. A beam of the eternal smites his heart. Beam, a ray of light. Okay, a beam. His thought stretches into infinitude. All in him turns to spirit vastnesses. Absolutely no limitation and no kinship to mortality. Gone. Mortality is the finite. Nothing to do with the finite. Everything is infinite.
This is the tenant from the heights.
Yes. He has become not the tenant now anymore, but he is the original person from where he has come.
Yes.
So, all in him turns to spirit vastness. His soul breaks out to join the oversoul. Srimdo sometimes uses the oversoul to mean the supreme Purusha, the divine, but he uses the word oversoul. The individual soul and the oversoul.
Purushottama?
Yeah. The Purushottama if you want. Okay. His life is oceaned by that super life. This is Srimdo at his best, using a noun as a verb. Okay. Oceaned.
Yes.
Tremendous description.
Yes.
You won't find it in the dictionary and it will not be there. It's a Srimdo's coin. Okay. His life is oceaned by that super life. He has drunk from the breast of the mother of the worlds. So now he introduces the mother of the worlds. She is the one he is praying to, and she accepts. That's in the Mahabharata. She accepts to take birth in him, through him. So that's a description of the next few lines. He has drunk from the breast of the mother of the worlds a topless supernature. Supernature, as I said, is Paraprakriti, the Divine Mother. Fills his frame. His frame is the body, mind, life, which she comes into him. She adopts his spirit's everlasting ground. She is agreed to come down into him. Okay? She adopts the spirit's everlasting ground as the security of her changing world and shapes the figure of her unborn mites. It is unborn, but when it is born, it will be Savitri here.
And this is the divine creatrix.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Immortally, she conceives herself in him. So that's what she has agreed to take birth through him. It's not he who is going to, but the queen, but through him. So she is answering his prayers. Immortally, she conceives herself in him. In the creature, the unveiled creatrix works. The unveiled creatrix is the Divine Mother. Sri Aurobindo uses this in the book The Mother. He calls her the creatrix. She is the one who creates.
Why would he say in the creature?
In the creature is Ashwati is the creature. In the creature. Ashwati is the creature.
Understand.
So she comes down into him.
Now the word creature is interesting.
Yeah.
To me.
It's almost pejorative.
Almost. Yes, almost.
Because creature is something, a very ordinary being in the physical world. Your body, mind, life of Ashwati is that. That's what he's saying.
Yes.
And in the creature, the unveiled creatrix works. Her face is seen through his face, her eyes through his eyes. Her being is his through a vast identity. Her being is his through a vast identity. This is all the description of she has agreed to take birth through him. So this is the almost the identification with the Divine Mother. Her being immortal in the creature, the unveiled creatrix works. Her face is seen through his face, her eyes through his eyes. Her being is his through a vast identity. There you are. The identity is being described here. Then is revealed in man the overt divine. Okay?
I have seen this a little bit differently.
Yeah.
I have seen it more of the change of humanity revealed in man as the overt divine. Not necessarily Ashwapati, but,
okay.
but
No,
the human
it's
form.
interesting. The way he has phrased it, it is a general statement also.
Yes, exactly.
It's a general statement, but it also applies to Ashwati because
Right.
that's exactly what she's going to do.
Right.
That's true. The phrasing is a very general one. Okay. Then is revealed in man the overt divine. What we have read, we have to absorb now.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, by the way, I'd like to say something. Savitri is a mantra. And Mother says that you have to read it without trying to understand. But if there is an understanding, so much the better. So, if you want the effect of Savitri as a mantra, you don't need to understand what he's saying. At the same time, we are dealing with it in a grammatical way, and we are also dealing with the symbols that he's using. So it enlarges the scope. So we are not doing it like a mantra. We are doing this. But we know that. That's why when you are reading, it's like a mantra. When you are reading, and then after that we are analyzing. So keep this in mind, that our method is not the full method of reading Savitri.
Yes.
This is important. I want to make it clear.
Good. Yes. Mother says to Udar, Savitri is a mantra for the transformation of the world.
Yes. Absolutely. At the same time, his philosophy, his thinking, and all his ideas are all revealed in Savitri. That's what we have approached that line. We are
Yes.
going through that line. And the beauty of the poetry and the beauty of the imagery, that's what we are concentrating on. So we stop here today.
Yes. Wonderful. Namaste.